We go all day
the
with
men
that.
are talking.
Yes.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain.
You were on date night. You missed the last one.
Yeah, date night go well.
I mean-
we just want to. Yeah.
You want details?
Do we have time? I don't know if we have time for details now, but
I'll watch
We'll-
the video later.
well,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I'll post that up
okay.
after this.
Yeah, so I guess, what else do you guys want to talk about? You want that door closed?
Not even gonna acknowledge that door now. No, he can stay there. Yep, we're back.
How's the pooch?
So a little background. Brandon got a new dog, but
Do you have
didn't
a
get a
dog?
vet with his dog. And then his dog
Needed
poked
a
in
vet.
the eye with something.
Yeah. So drove 800 kilometers not to find any vets. That's all right. We called one in the U.S. and they were able to fix us. It looks like we got Luke joining now. Should we cut to that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's
go
loop
to
him
Luke.
in.
Can you see me, Luke? Okay.
What you drinking there, Luke?
Crystal Light, just water.
Nice.
Well, thanks for joining us.
It's good to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Good to meet you, man.
My name's
Yeah, good
Trevor.
to meet you.
Yeah, that's Trevor. I'm Brandon. You know Brian.
Brian.
You guys got
well,
the history.
we kind of know, but we haven't actually talked on like Zoom.
Yeah, just a daily Facebook message romance.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Memes.
Awesome.
Meme lords. Couple meme lords.
Just a couple gifts.
So, Luke, Brian's got a bit more background and history on you, but I'm a bit in the dark here. So, can you bring me up to speed a little bit? Kind of what you're
Yeah.
about and how you got kind of going in motorsports?
So I have been a car guy since the beginning of time. I don't really know where or how it started because my dad's a farmer and knows nothing about cars. But 15 years old, I got myself a pretty sick 94 Honda Prelude SI.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy right here, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
And the crazy thing is that, I mean, this was, 2006, 2008, somewhere in there. So stuff wasn't very fast back then. So a 2,500 pound Honda with a 2.2 liter VTEC engine was the fastest car in high school, which looking back on that now, it's almost embarrassing. But
Yep.
yeah, so I had that thing, put a handful of transmissions in it because I might have race geared it once.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And yeah, that didn't end well. And somehow managed to get into the Euro stuff after that. So ended up with a handful of turbo Volkswagens.
Interesting.
And about that time I was in college and actually going to get a business degree. And worked at a performance shop on the side, and that's kind of how I got into the whole drag racing thing. We did primarily turbo and cam LS stuff there, so pretty cookie cutter stuff, but it was my introduction into what 1,200 horsepower was compared to 300 horsepower and no torque.
Damn.
And from there, kind of did the whole American dream, climbing the corporate ladder bullshit, and had a super bad day at work about a year and a half ago, and texted a friend that actually used to work for Competition Products and said, "Hey man, I'm sick of this garbage. Who do you know?" He gave me the manager at Competition Products number, and promptly emailed him, and he's like, "Oh man, we're not hiring right now, but Howard's Cams actually is." And I'm like, I've heard of Howard's, but like, are they even that big of a deal? Are they relevant? And he reached out to me almost immediately and basically started the onboarding process in that first talk that we had, which was crazy because they were
awesome.
They were looking for people. They were looking for a younger person actually, because I am the youngest at the company by about 20 plus years right now. So they were trying to get somebody in, getting them trained, and
What? We're blaming Brandon. Sorry.
Sorry. Carry on.
We were blaming Brandon for a phone ringing, but
It was, I think.
oh, what?
It's on Do Not Disturb. Look.
Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry.
It's an emergency
Yeah,
call?
I thought about that right away. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy.
I should probably do that.
Hey,
too,
I've
then.
been that guy, and it's not that bad. Come to the dark side.
I'll do it too. Mine's going off.
Yeah, straight
Yeah.
on.
You're playing solitaire right now. What do you mean it's not going off?
I'm winning.
I'm winning.
I don't even know how to shut this phone off. I'm just mashing buttons.
Sit on it. All right, there we go. Sorry, Luke.
He's gone.
Back to you. So,
Slide it between the cheeks, it'll muffle it enough.
yeah. Luke, can we backtrack for 1 sec? So you mentioned that you're studying business in college, and then you ended up.
I was, yeah.
Was? Did you? Is that what you finished with, or?
Yeah, so...
But then you
I
got
could-
into some work that wasn't in the motorsports right away.
Right, yeah. So I actually, first time I went to college, I went to tech school. I actually got sponsored through John Deere, and I went as a mechanic for John Deere and did a stint as a combine mechanic for them.
Cool.
And then promptly, like I said, American Dream, corporate ladder stuff.
Yeah.
Saw that you don't really make a whole lot of money doing that kind of stuff. So I'm like, man, I want to make 6 figures. I'm going to go to business school. So I did that and then started on that whole journey. And that led me, funny enough, back to John Deere, but as a service manager. So I did that for a little while and then actually got a job offer in outside sales for a petroleum company. So for about 3.5 years, I did gasoline and diesel sales to basically large trucking companies, gas stations, stuff like that. A lot of writing contracts, a lot of buttering people up.
Got it.
Shit tons of cold calls, and it sucks, like pounding the pavement like that. I put on like 25,000 miles a year driving around. I did basically covered the entire state of Wisconsin, the lower UP, some Minnesota, and northern Illinois. So I was everywhere.
Well traveled for sure.
Yeah, but it was great because I made a bunch of money, and I actually started my first build. It was a 85 Buick Regal. Had the vinyl Lando top on it. It was like forest green metallic. It was a really beautiful car.
Oh, cool.
But I made the mistake of paying somebody to build it for me. So I gave somebody a stack of cash and dropped it off at their shop, and 3 years go by and I didn't have my car back. So kind of dropped the hammer on the dude and said, hey, I need this thing done and back. And a couple weeks later, I get a message saying, hey, come pick it up. And I show up there, and the thing is ruined. Like 1.5 inch gaps between the copes on some of the tubes. Like the body was crooked on the chassis. And lucky I had a friend there with me because I would have beat the guy senseless.
I was going to say, so basically you're on the run for killing the guy.
Yeah. So I ended up getting some money back from the dude, like nothing, essentially, because
Now you got to fix
we
that
had
car.
bought yeah. So essentially I cut the cage out of the car. Somebody I knew wanted the body, so I sold the body. Another local guy wanted the frame because the frame had like a fancy torque box in it, and then the TRZ tubular front end on it. So some dude bought that, and then I basically just parted the rest of it out. And my Ranger was actually just sitting in the weeds next to my garage this entire time because I've had that truck since I was 17 and just never wanted to get rid of it. Where the Ranger is at now was never the plan. Yeah, the working for the petroleum company definitely provided the funds to be able for a 24-year-old kid to just start buying all this crazy shit off the shelf and
Nice.
TRZ rear ends and all these billet arms and everything, and it was super cool. But like looking back, I completely regret the whole thing because like I made it not fun. I promptly made it not fun.
Right.
Learning experience, invaluable learning experience, probably.
For sure, yeah.
It sucks
But-
because there's like too many of those learning experiences where people just get fucked and like hand good money over, and then you just get shit back, or your car never comes back.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Yeah,
Sucks.
I mean, sending a car out to a shop to be built, and when you receive it back, you then have to part out the car because it's so far gone. That's a tough situation. Damn.
Yeah.
Luke, just shut your door there. There's somebody
At
on
my
the
door?
Yeah, there's somebody on the side there.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go.
Oh god. I'm glad I watched that other episode. Otherwise, I had no idea what's going on there.
It's all good. Other way. Yeah, right there.
Brian's
Nailed
frigging around with the camera.
All right.
You guys even know what you're doing?
No.
We just wing everything. Like, Brandon fashionably late every single time. So me and Brian did all the prep here and got everything ready, and then now Brian's like, "Oh
Just
wait,
smashing stuff.
look at the
Probably that
doorway!"
complete lack of horsepower in that Volvo.
Oh, he said it.
Yeah,
He
you know what?
said it.
I have no rebuttal to that.
Checks
Luke,
in the
'cause
mail.
It's true.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Yep.
Luke, I was curious about the Ranger.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn about that.
What do you do with it?
So it is a 1991 Ford Ranger, so second generation square body. Regular cab, short box. It was originally a 2.3 liter stick shift truck. Going up a hill on the freeway at like 70 miles an hour, you no shit had to drop it into fourth just to pull the hill at 60. Like the thing was gutless.
That thing did 70 miles an hour.
This guy's making fun of your Volvo.
Yeah.
He can't even make up
Go up the hill.
That was the old
Yeah.
motor, right?
Yeah.
'Cause here we go,
Yep,
1,200
yeah,
horse
yeah.
later.
Yep. So I daily drove that thing. So actually, segue back to the Euro stuff. I crashed a VW GTI at 140 miles an hour on the freeway,
Right.
right underneath the semi.
Ooh, shit.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun.
Like you did that on
Close.
purpose, though, right?
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
totally.
I
I'm
seen
like,
this
yeah.
in the movies. I'm
Fast and
trying this. Yeah.
Welcome to Jackass.
Oh my god.
I like it.
So, like, if you slammed into the back, like, were you pinned in the car and everything then, or?
No, so what happened was is I used to go to the gym like super early at the college I went to, so it was like 5:30, 6 in the morning, and I'm just booking it down. Like where I'd lived was just north of Madison in Wisconsin, so it was a 6-lane freeway, but at that time in the morning in north of Madison there's nothing on it, so you just open it up just for shits and giggles. So I was coming up on some traffic and I looked down. I was doing like 135. I'm like, I can hit 140 before I have to lift off. So I did it and then lifted. And literally the second I lifted, the car that was in the middle lane just shifted over into, went over into my lane to go around the semi. And I mean, I'm sure she looked in the mirror and I was really far back there, but at 140,
Oh, yeah.
Closing.
yeah. So I swerve around her and hit the brakes. And I hit the brakes right in the rumble strips in the center median. So the car like instantly like pitched and just like Tokyo drifted for like forever, and then promptly slid like right underneath. Yeah, the back of the semi underneath the trailer, and I hit the rear tires on the trailer, and it like shot me back out, spun the car, and then he ran over the back of the car.
Oh,
And I like slid to a stop and completely fine. Like had a whole like come to Jesus moment in that whole situation, because like people say like your life flashes before your eyes. It seriously does in situations like that where you think you can 100% die. But
shit.
I like got out of the car and I'm like, holy shit, that was crazy. And like there's like shit bouncing by, like plastic skidding past. Some guy rolls down his window and just like screams at me and then keeps driving. Like it was the weirdest thing. But,
Hey, you can't park there.
promptly lost my license. My insurance dropped me, and I was a college kid modifying a car, so I had no money. So I bought a $500 Ford Ranger, and I guess the rest is history with that truck. Fell in love with the thing because I drove it for forever, and when the whole Buick shenanigans happened, I'm like, you know what? I have this. Nobody does it. I love this truck. My thoughts one day were just to like restore it stock and do like the 2.3 turbo coupe turbo motor in it, and just have a nice little like 250 horse daily driver that I could do whatever with. I'm like, you know what? Let's make this the race car.
Nice.
So I bought a welder. I had done a lot of welding in the past just from John Deere. You're always just making field adjustments to stuff
Yep.
out in the
Nothing runs like a deer.
literally like you have a welder in your van and you drive out into a field and weld up whatever's wrong on a combine and then head back. So I had plenty of welding experience and had a local place sandblast the frame, boxed the entire frame, bought a prevent cage, which I will never do again because I ended up having to.
We went through that
Yep.
Been
with
through
one
that
guy
before.
here too.
Yep. Yeah. So bought a pre-bent cage and then remade every bar that had a bend in it. And
Sounds familiar.
yep. Yeah. And it turned out really good now, like looking back. But the shitty thing about a Ranger is that the frame rails are 24.5 inches apart.
Oh.
So
Oh, yeah, that's
you have
narrow.
to make you have to make outriggers for everything to make it like legal for the
Yep.
cage. But I mean that was fun. Had to buy a new cab for it because I live in Wisconsin, Rust Belt.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how much they salt the roads and all that there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
They do the brine now, which is like the liquid like beet juice.
Yeah, we
And
got that too. That stuff sucks.
Do we?
It's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, I don't even know. Just everything rusts and rots.
Yeah, like we never like I work at Nissan at the dealership, and we would like never do wheel bearings, and then we switched to brine or whatever. We do wheel bearings all the time now.
Yeah.
Like, it just
makes
leaches
stuff
in.
off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
But-
okay because it goes into the farm fields and into our water. You know, it's fine. What's a wheel bearing?
Yeah.
Some wheel bearing.
You've come racing with me and like touched my car. Like none of that should even matter to you anymore. You're not gonna die from that. You die from all the methanol and oil.
Thanks, Brian.
Especially from the Q16.
We were burning up some methanol the last time I was here, trying to take it out of his oil.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. A little boil
Smelled
down.
good.
little boil off.
That was stuck to the clothes.
Oh yeah, it smells good though.
Yep. Yep.
Not healthy for you though.
So Luke, what's the status on the Ranger now as it sits?
Chassis is done. Engine's done. I bought like Generation 1 for like anybody that knows small block Fords. Before the high ports came out, Strict Flow came out with street heat heads, and the ports were moved on them, and that's basically where the whole high port thing came from. So they were 240 Generation 1 high ports, and had a bunch of port work done to them. Ports were filled with epoxy, which whatever, like that you on super ported heads you get that stuff. So wasn't worried about it, and truck was completely done, had gas in it. I was getting ready to fire it up, and forgot that I hadn't put water in it. So I'm like, okay, we'll fill the water system, and the radiator's in the bed, so it took forever to burp it, even with vacuum filling it. So after I realized that it wasn't burping anymore and the water was definitely going somewhere, I pulled the dipstick out, and it's like all the way to the top.
No.
Like, damn, that sucks. So I started looking around for the obvious stuff. Noticed that on one header flange, because on the early high ports, they would put a adapter flange to basically move the pattern from a forward straight across on the headers. They tilt them so they basically can make the port bigger. So they had adapter flanges on there, and the water was dripping from in between the head and one of those adapter flanges.
Eh.
And I'm like, oh shit. So pull the header off and look inside, and like literally could watch water dripping from like in between the aluminum and where the epoxy stopped.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that before, actually.
Yep.
Damn.
Sucks. So pulled those heads off, blasted all the epoxy out of them, re-epoxied them, and sold them. Because I'm like, I am not going to put something on the two-step that makes 1,000 horsepower and rattle this epoxy back out of it and be right where I'm sitting. So bought a new set of heads that weren't high ports, but promptly changed the entire turbo kit. And this was about September, and I got so sick of it that I haven't touched the truck again until about 2 weeks ago. So now I just launched a YouTube channel to kind of help out things with work and just giving people the inside look of like what an employee at Howard's Cams does in their spare time, or what it is like to work for Howard's Cams, and kind of do some fun stuff there and go to races with some of our customers. And
What's the channel called?
Lukey D Speed and Service.
We're gonna
Sweet. Put that
link
link
in
down
the
below.
description
Brian's gonna
Put
put
the
a big
link in
old
the
banner
description.
right here.
or right here.
Yep.
Always do this.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Or maybe you can get
Right
this
there.
guy to hold up the banner.
Oh yeah, maybe this guy will.
Shit.
Oh
Yeah. So
man.
since we're on the topic of the YouTube channel, I am actually doing a thing with one of the organizations that we jumped on board with. So the American Hot Rod Association has recently respawned and trying to get a member base back up. And we recently partnered with them to basically give their members some discounts through competition products. So anybody that's an AHRA member will get a discount here coming in the future if they purchase through us.
Oh, cool.
And along with that, they do a race every September called the No Name Nationals, which is basically the race for the YouTubers out there. And you have to have 500 subscribers or they don't let you in the gate. So we thought it would be a cool idea for the person that's jumping on board and helping them to jump right in there with the grassroots guys that are building these cars and trying to become influencers on YouTube. So that was the main reason that we launched the YouTube channel. So I need 500 subs by September. Otherwise, the guy that's sponsoring the race is going to be standing at the fence just waiting. They were serious. They weren't going to they probably let me in, but they wouldn't let the truck in. But it would suck.
That's a cool concept.
We'll do our best to promote.
Yeah. What are the rules of this race then? So
there's a 28-10-5 race. As far as like the classes, there's 28-10-5, and then like I had like a bracket class. So there's really like not huge rules as far as the racing. It's more of like the struggle to get there.
Right.
And the camaraderie of it. Like they're trying to make this family of YouTubers that basically have been like trying to get each other to the 500 subscriber mark and building each other up all year long and then celebrating with the race.
Right.
So
the
there's
journey
really
to get
nothing
there.
to like gain at the race at all, but it's a cool concept. It's like drag week without the driving.
Right. Yeah, I like that idea. That is actually really cool.
Where is the race held? Or do they know?
It's in Missouri. 1,014 miles. That's not that bad. 15 hours.
Is that from
Yeah,
where
that's
we live?
From us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 15-hour drive from Thunder Bay.
Oh, you were like dead nuts north of me.
Coming over?
Yeah.
Just across the lake. I'll just get in my boat real quick.
There you go.
Shoot across. But that race is a really cool concept. I like that. So it's
Yeah.
promoting motorsports the whole year because all these guys are kind of documenting their journey to the race, building the cars, getting everything sorted out, and then it culminates there. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool one to do just for that concept.
Cool because all these companies like Power Automotive Media, they did the $10,000 drag shootout, which is a great concept. It's sad that it's not coming back. They put the kibosh on that for the foreseeable future. But it's basically that at a grassroots level. Basically anybody can join in. And then if you win the race at the end of the weekend, great. If you don't, you still had a rad time getting there. So yeah, Sykeston, Missouri, end of September. So
Got it.
You got that in your calendar?
I'm gonna look at that one closely too.
I got 593 subs right now.
Oh.
yeah, so you're already in the show.
I gotta bump my number up a little bit, but we'll get there. We got some time. And it's a heads up 28 race.
Yep, heads up 28-10-5.
Cool.
We were talking about doing like a 235 style tire race too, just to kind of like get everything leveled out there. Just because 28-10-5 is running away. I mean, you got people like Brian out there just stomping people.
Not.
I taught him everything.
Not
he
even
knows.
close. Not even close. Mine does okay on no prep, but if I go to like actual 10-5 race against guys that race on prep, then I fall behind for sure.
Yeah, that's why I like no prep stuff.
Yeah.
Same concept the other day when we were texting when I said that's why it's like street racing. Yeah, you can head out to the street with a 600 horsepower car and beat up on something that takes twice the horsepower.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Brian was talking to me the other day a little bit about the fact that you've done some stick shift stuff, or you guys have been involved with some stick cars. Is this true? Because we've got a resident clutch guy here, and I'm always interested to link up with other stick shift guys. They're few and far between.
Yep. There is 3 pedals in the Ranger.
Oh, awesome. Dang,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's sweet.
It probably could have ran like 2 years ago, but I have this like constant need to like make things better, or like I'll get this idea in my head and be like, okay, well I've practiced that enough, like now I can do that better. So I'll just remake that part, and then it just spirals out of control. So the truck was originally just a stock 351 Windsor with a carburetor on it, iron heads, everything, just a little port work done to it, with a T5.
Got it.
I'm like, that'll be fine. I'm like, I'm just gonna go run like 620s, 630s in the eighth, and just be like completely content with that until I can build something better. I don't even remember what happened. Somebody talked me into a turbo, so I put a turbo on it. It's swapped back and forth between turbo and nitrous, with all like the ups and downs in the build, but it's been turbo for a little while now. But the problem is that T5 is still in the truck.
Okay.
Not really sure how well that's going to work out. I mean, it's a pretty trick T5, and it's still a stock gear set, but it's got everything done to it that you can kind of do outside the case and the gear set to make them not like less shitty, I guess. But there is a T56 on my shelf that I'm collecting parts for. It's just those things are expensive, and I'm riding that decision of, well, do I just put it together faceplated right away, or do I keep synchros in it? Like, what do I do here? So
I'll make that an easy decision for you, Luke. Put the faceplates in it right away.
Can I borrow $3,000?
Yeah. No, but I
Yeah,
understand
so-
it. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a Corvette T56 that I bought for, I got it for $200 out of a wrecking yard. So
Well, you're ahead already
That's
then on
for-
that.
yeah, so for anybody trying to put a T56 together, that is the way to do it. C5, C6 Corvette, T56. All you have to do is main shaft, front plate, tail housing, and then a couple of like little bits and pieces. But you'll have probably about $1,200 or $1,300 in the parts plus the cost of the trans. So you're almost half the price of buying a used T56 out of like an F body off of Facebook or something like that. So it's definitely the thing to do, and they're freaking everywhere. I should probably just do the faceplates right away, but the other side of that is putting it on a Ford. Now I got to buy $1,000 bell housing to even put it on a Ford, which sucks, but whatever. If I'm complaining about money, I'm in the wrong.
Yeah,
the wrong
thing to
the
do.
wrong place.
Absolutely.
So,
Don't worry, we complain about money all the time.
yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
forever broke, so I don't even care
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Luke, what do you have for engine management in there? Is it EFI?
Holly.
You mentioned it was Holly on there now?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's Holly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a Terminator with the CAN bus expansion box on it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Pleased with that system so far? I haven't worked on the Terminator at all, so.
Yeah, I wish they would just make the software the same between all the platforms, because the differences is kind of just dumb. Like, it would have been just like putting it in there. I think they spent probably more time making a Terminator specific software than just giving you like what the HP or the Dominator is. Like, there's nothing in there for a switched data log, so you can't make an IO on the Terminator, at least that I've found in the recent revisions, to basically, like, let's say you have a stage switch in your car, so you hit the stage switch and it activates your boost controller and your timers once, like say I would release the clutch or somebody else would let off the button. And a lot of guys have that set up that when they do that, the data log starts, or when they flip the switch, it starts the data log, so they can get the whole staging process in that data log.
Right.
But the Terminator it's either data logging or it's not. You can set it up based on throttle position, so it'll like start data logging on throttle position, but that's the kind of shitty thing, and you can't. There's only 2 rev limiters, which is dumb.
Oh, okay.
Just put the third one in there, Holly.
Yeah, that's a bit limited then, yeah.
Yeah, you can just make an advanced table and just wherever you want the rev limiter to be, just all the timings out of it above that number, and it does the same thing for like a timing offset, which is what I have, but 20-30 minutes worth of work rather than just flipping a switch and typing in your burnout.
So
rev
right
limiter
now,
number.
do you have it set up so you just go 100% wide open throttle and then it'll start recording? Like if you're on the trans brake holding it or bumping in or whatever?
Off of the handheld too, the screen.
Oh, okay.
You can basically say like enable data logging.
Yeah.
But the shitty part of that is that when you're strapped into your seat and have a glove on, it doesn't recognize any of that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh.
So that sucks. So I haven't 100% decided on what I'm going to do there. Honestly, it'll probably just be one of those things that it's just going to start data logging either at the 100% throttle, or I'll just enable it before I even roll into the water box.
Mm-hmm. And what are you running for a clutch in this, or what's your plan for the clutch?
I like the idea of the adjustable clutch. So It's amazing what guys have been doing with it, but being that the truck is going to be a street truck first and a race car second, crawling underneath it and adjusting base to drive to McDonald's or go pick up my kid from daycare or do something like that. And then having, like, let's say I want to go make a rip at night after everybody's asleep. Then I got to drive out there and then adjust base and do all this kind of crap. So it is a diaphragm clutch in the truck just because of it's easy and it works.
Got it.
I am acquainted with Mr. Bangshift Billy, and I've talked to him a lot about what he's done with his software. I haven't bought any of his products because I'm actually trying to do what he's doing through his app and product through the Holly.
Got it.
Which has been not a struggle, but there's a lot of moving pieces when you're trying to do something like that, especially if you want to make it work efficiently. Right now, the truck has 2 line lock solenoids, one for the full burnout procedure, and then it will go off the brake pressure, so I can actually roll into the beams and the truck doesn't roll on the clutch staging. And then there's a second one actually in line with the clutch. So when I stage, basically pump up the brake, engage the clutch, it'll go to a designated brake pressure, so the truck will roll once I let off the clutch a little bit, but it'll be engaged enough that if the wind's blowing, the truck won't roll out of the beams or something like that. And then there's no clutch switch. It's all done off of percentage-based throw.
Okay, so you have
a ride height sensor, GM ride height sensor on the clutch pedal, which is actually
that's slick.
Yeah. Got the idea from my buddy Dylan Merkel from Motorsports, and it's helped me out a lot in the truck. So he's set up that in a couple cars, and it works pretty slick because you can do, instead of just everything going off of a clutch switch, you can set things at different percentages.
Right. Well, that's really sick, particularly for a hydraulic clutch. Luke, all right. Well, now that I know we're fellow clutch guys, Luke, we're gonna stay in touch, and as the truck comes together and you get it out to the track, we'll talk for sure.
Get your own friends, Brandon,
Yeah.
because
Don't poach
we're
my
Prelude
sponsors.
buddies.
Oh yeah, they're Prelude buddies.
Yeah.
Prelude.
We had clutches and Preludes. I mean, we're just one notch above.
That's
Trevi used to have an MSD box in his Prelude.
Yeah.
What did it do?
remember
Did
that.
it just sit in the back seat, or it worked?
No,
Oh,
it
yeah, we
worked.
had water in there.
I threw it right there on the floorboard of passenger side. Fuck whoever else was in there. That was a footrest, really, but.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the 94. I had what? Mine
91 or
89
92?
or something. Mine was not the VTEC EFI. Mine's the carbureted POS.
Wow.
Flippy
It
headlights.
had a clutch.
Did you?
Yeah,
did you have flip head?
Yeah, it had that. My brother had a
Yeah,
91
mine had the
VTEC.
digital dash that went like across the entire like windshield.
Yeah.
And then like the instead of having a tack, it was like these bars that like went across. Like,
Nice.
yeah, I was
My brother-
pimping for a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's
It
futuristic.
was just
man.
overhead cam, I think. Unless it was VTEC. I don't know.
And then the carport destroyed it. Carport
Yes.
caved in.
I had one of those tarp carports or whatever. Never shoveled the roof. 7.5 inches of ice below the snow that you saw. Kind of ended that.
It crushed
one.
the car?
Yeah.
Shit, don't make a Honda flash.
Oh, man.
And that was that.
Yeah.
You know what? It needed to end. I don't care. Yeah.
So talked about Luke's clutch setup. So you want to roll into your other?
Well, maybe we
guys
should
that are
hear
doing
from
it?
this guy. Okay.
I can't put.
You have to keep editing.
I'll stay on the clutch topic for another minute.
Okay,
because
sorry, Luke. Sorry.
We,
Like I'm gonna have to. Sorry, I'm gonna have to put out on like Facebook that we're looking for random guys that don't want to copy.
No, we're not. You just need to
stand-
stop right now. We're not looking for no guys.
I could put a girl there.
I mean,
You could.
You just need like a random like party boy like in the middle of all
That's
this.
true. Yeah.
Oh, we are gonna freeze that
Luke's
Luke's a party boy.
Yeah.
I love this video today.
What I was gonna ask about, I was gonna stay in the clutch topic for a minute and talk about the S10 clutch car. Nick's setup.
Nick.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So Brian had
Yeah,
mentioned
so-
this to me, but I'm curious to hear what your background with that.
Because everybody
was-
knows about Cletus
Right.
because he's like
Yeah.
He's got
he's
a
the
YouTube,
YouTube
channel.
guy,
Yeah.
but not everybody
not
knows
a
about
lot
Nick.
of people know about Mr. Nick Coleman.
Mhm.
So I know Nick Coleman. Funny enough, from street racing.
That's
Nick,
illegal.
not
That's illegal.
Not where
only
they're
in,
from.
only in the U.S. We do it in
Right.
Mexico,
Right.
and then
Oh yeah,
people
yeah.
us people in Wisconsin. Mexico's a really long drive, so we actually just go to Canada for it.
Oh,
So you guys are from the same area?
Yeah. So Nick lives about probably 20 minutes from me. I've known him personally for probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, something like that. He had a multicolored truck previously that a lot of people knew because it had bullhorns behind the cab because the turbos were behind the cab. So the entire intercooler system, the icebox, everything was in the bed of the truck. And I think he had twin 80s or something like that. They were pretty big bullseye turbos in the back of the truck, and then the bullhorns came out right in front of the rear tires, which was different and cool. But that truck was synchronized, I think, pretty much his whole life. So he was chasing the number. It was a no-time truck, so he never told anybody how fast it actually went until he wrecked the truck on the street. And once he wrecked the truck on the street, it was completely and totally unfixable. Left him in the hospital for a couple of days, but
Oh, wow.
he built the S10, which is I guess what you would call an extreme back half. So basically, you have that 18 inches of frame rail in the firewall area to pick up the it would be the rearmost control arm pivot point for the front, and then after that, it's all just tube. Super lightweight truck. Sits on its nuts. T56 faceplated deal. Tick has helped him with that.
Mhm.
It has a 400-inch LS motor in it. Some pretty trick heads. John Daughtry actually did the cam in it. I did not do the cam in it, so I won't claim that.
Mhm.
Stuff like that is a little bit over my head yet for stuff that's going 9,000 RPMs and making 3,000 horsepower. So
Right.
I'll pull up the picture real quick, and I won't be talking on my ass.
Oh yeah, if you just send me that photo in our group chat, I could even put it on the screen.
Yeah, we'll put a
Yeah.
pic of his truck for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well, I'll
cool.
put a picture of the truck.
Right next to.
This guy.
There he goes.
Oh man.
Oh, LME. It's got
LME,
LME heads
got
on
it.
it. Yeah, so it's got super good heads on it. Twin bullseye Pro Mod turbos on it, and just recently completely destroyed Cletus and went 695 in the
Yeah.
quarter.
That was awesome.
And I am not a social media person, even though I run social media for Howard and Competition Products. I only go on their social. I do not do my own social hardly ever besides Instagram.
Mhm.
So it was like 10:30 at night here, and all of a sudden Ryan texts me. He's like, "Hey, your boy did it." I'm like, "Oh, whatever," because I thought I would have somebody would have heard about it.
Yeah.
So literally crawling into bed, and I'm like, I'm just gonna open Facebook, and sure enough, it's all that's on my feed. So I did not sleep that night, but super cool accomplishment for him. Super, super proud of him. He's been chasing that number for years and years and years and years. And I called him the Monday after and basically told him how much I love him. And, he's my hero, and he's going to need bodyguards now because he's basically Mr. Hollywood. Everybody wants him on podcasts. Everybody wants to do a video with him, which is crazy.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually
just like-
wanted him here too, but unfortunately we couldn't afford it.
We
so
settled for
we
Luke.
got, we got
Yeah, you got me.
we got the other stick shift truck.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Luke. But
But yeah, it's crazy because to me he's still just Nick, just my buddy
Mhm.
Nick, and he is definitely superstar status right now, which is it's awesome. So,
That is awesome.
yeah, he was the first person in the country to get one of our belt drives. So Howard's this last year came out with their own billet belt drive systems. A little bit different than all the other belt drives out there because we have an idler on ours, which is great for the install because I'm sure as Brian knows, putting his stuff together, getting all that stuff together on the front kind of is a trick.
Yeah.
But
Does your idler, like, you tension it later?
Yep, yeah, so you set everything up, put everything dot to dot or wherever you're setting it up at, put the belt on, tension the belt from there. So
Oh, sweet. That's
yeah,
awesome.
super nice. And the other part is for LS people is it does not require any machining of the block. There's one other belt drive out there that doesn't require machining of the block, and that would be Innovator West. Yeah. So they have a front cover belt drive system for the LS, but it's 2-piece.
That's a leak point. That's a leak.
Yeah.
There's a leak right
That's
there.
a leak. It is a leak.
Go with the Howards. Just like that. Go with the Howards. Done.
Yep. Yeah. So super cool that he was the first person in the country to get one of our belt drives and then just completely put the truck on the map. It's been awesome being a part of that whole deal.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I've been following the truck for a little while.
Yeah.
And, it's cool to see.
And I will go ahead and say that the boost levels that truck was at, so it's a fairly similar combo to Leroy. Both 427s, both similar size turbos, both on methanol. He did it with about 20 pounds less boost. I've been bugging Nick about this for years, but the way he shifts the truck is not consistent. It's amazing that he went bottom sevens for a year and a half with that truck, the way he shifts it. There's probably almost a tenth left in it just in his shift strategy. So 20 pounds of boost and a little bit there. I mean,
20 pounds of boost?
20 less.
20 less, okay.
20, yeah, so it did it in like 30 some odd pounds of boost, and Cletus was knocking on 50. So the truck has been at levels like that on Haltex dyno and made ridiculous power, but he hasn't needed it to go down the track yet. So he's thinking 640s is the number that truck's gonna go.
Folks. Yeah.
So
Fuck,
if he does that, he'll be at Donald Long's race with it.
Right,
and,
I heard that they are doing a stick shift shootout at that. That's going to be really cool.
Yep. All the fast guys are going to be there. So it'll be cool seeing him go up against everybody because he did not have a good World Cup finals this year. He ended up cracking a cylinder head last year. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
It's insane being a part of something like that.
Oh yeah, that's as cool as it gets. Is the Ducks race going to be an 8th mile though for the stick class? That was one thing that I hadn't seen clarification on. Because that would be an interesting dimension to add to it. Guys kind of know how they're falling in that class maybe, but running to the 8th could really change things, shake it up a bit.
It could. I don't know how much it's going to change it for a stick shift car though. Because gear ratio plays into effect so much on automatics, but I mean, you just don't shift into fourth. So, I mean, a lot of these guys are trying to get that short track as fast as they can anyways, because, I mean, if you're adding power all the way to the finish line, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that a lot of times if you're just adding power after the 8th, it might pick up ET, but you're probably just picking up mile an hour. So the front half is where all this stuff is won. So I'm just going to be interested to see what he does when he gets on a surface like that, because he had trouble keeping the nose down on that truck before.
Right. Yeah, and all these guys are pretty much on a radial tire now with the clutch. At this level of competition, it seems like. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, which is I will be going to a radial tire on mine as soon as I get that glass box of the transmission out.
Right, right. That's something I'm really curious to try as well. I talked with Brian a little bit about it. This is a product placement?
It's root beer.
For Barks root beer?
But this time, it's in a bottle.
Just tastes better.
Drinks always taste better in a glass.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. Okay, that was Brian's technique to derail our clutch car conversation because we could go all day.
The men are talking.
Yes, the men. Yeah.
You want to talk about Howard's cams?
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
learn a little bit more about
I want
Howard's
to learn.
because
I want to also learn more about. And there it is.
yeah, from the man.
I gotta put that same one
can
right
tell
I
us.
hope there's
Yeah.
2 banners because I'd like to hang one in my living room or above my bed.
That too.
We need. We gotta get these guys just wearing Howard's cams all the time too.
Yep.
Tracksuits, friggin' tearaway pants, everything.
We talked a little bit in the last time we were in here, Luke, about some of the Howard stuff in the offerings, but we want to learn more from you and.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
just to
kind of
kinda-
secondhand putting out what we
Yeah.
kind of knew, but
You have air fresheners? I'd hang one.
Dude, that's actually been something on my
Not a bad question. I
scope.
like this. I like
yeah,
this.
because so if you order something from Speedway Motors, they send you a little purple Chevy small block air freshener that's got a tunnel ring on it, and it's badass. I've had it hanging in my truck. It probably doesn't smell like anything, but it's in my truck for like 2 years.
It
It's
doesn't
cool.
smell like
I would-
anything.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
It's
It's
probably wore out.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I would love to do like a cam. It would be a little tiny camshaft that.
Why don't you
On
make
my
some
site
little
is like
pickle air fresheners? It just smells like dill pickle in there.
I bet they have those. I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna send you a box of 500.
That's unreal.
yeah, like on a super hot day, and you walk in, it smell like that smell like garbage.
You're like swinging the door back and forth to air it out.
it'd be horrible.
Anything for a friend, right? So
Right.
So obviously you guys specialties in camshafts, or this is at least the basis for Howard's cams, but
Yep.
and that's still kind of the foundation of what you guys are doing.
A lot of cam companies out there, like these one-off grinders, like for example, like Bullet, John Daughtry, all these like these single-name guys that are doing all these custom cam grinds. Like their scope is just race car stuff.
Right.
But 90% of what we do is just the normal everyday street rod stuff. Like I would say on average, a cam that I would spec, so duration at 50 is pretty much all I taught. Would be like something 215 to 219 at 50 on the intake, and then like mid 220s on the exhaust, and then probably a 112 load separation, and then on a flat tap it'll be like 450 lift and probably low 500s on a roller. That spec is pretty much what I sell for the most part.
Obviously a lot of, like you're saying, street car, street rod, hot rod stuff for the camshafts, but clearly you guys do also do some more, full race type parts. Brian was talking about the billet crankshafts and some of this stuff as well. So it's not just kind of the street car scene, clearly.
Yeah, so like I said, most of what we do is the street car stuff. Trying to get a guy with like stock bottom end and aluminum heads, just a little bit extra.
That's awesome. That's
but
me.
yeah, but then we have our clientele like Ryan, where we're doing. He has rods, but we have billet rods, billet cranks. Ross makes all of our pistons for us, so super good offering as far as pistons go. We have our own timing sets, our own rocker arms. We have probably 100-foot long aisle in our warehouse, just springs.
Oh wow!
So yeah, we offer a lot more than people realize. So especially I'm finding out all the time that nobody has any idea that we offer these high-end crankshafts, and they're super crazy. They're good stuff. We have a Steve Morris built engine out there, and it's using one of our crankshafts. Car's like 4,400 pounds, and it goes 8 O's.
Luke, and you guys covering a lot of the main platforms in terms of engine platforms?
Yeah, so primarily Chevy, just because we will sell, just segueing back to camshafts, we'll sell 10 to 20 Chevy camshafts for one of anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, we have probably at least one entire aisle, both sides of the aisle. So one entire set of racking that's only Chevy, and Ford is maybe like 30 feet long, and Ford is the second biggest thing. So it's all Chevy in the aftermarket for the most part.
And that's Gen 1 small block, LS stuff?
Yeah, Gen 1 small block. We do have the Gen 2 small block stuff, or what would it be? What is the...
Like LT or whatever?
Gen 4, is that the roller block? No, I guess, because LS is Gen 3. So yeah, Gen 2 It's like LT1 style reverse flow stuff with the step nose cam. We do have a bunch of those, which is great because if a guy has a dart block, that's usually what he wants. A lot of big block Chevy stuff and a lot of LS stuff. However, we are currently working on the Godzilla stuff, which I am being a Ford guy super excited about. Yeah, we have a vehicle going together in Canada, funny enough, for a test mule, and the thing is going to make stupid power.
Wow, that's cool. Do you know whereabouts in Canada those guys are based out of that are doing that?
Alberta.
Yep. Yeah, Brooks, Alberta area.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, that's a really interesting platform too that I'll be watching. Like, it's impressive,
Oh
yeah. Yeah. Everything they did with that engine, right? Except the connecting rods kind of pissed me off because they're like pencils. They're like super tiny connecting rods.
Really?
So we'll see what those do. I think they're going to be the next stock bottom end killer.
I already have a set of aluminum rods, but I was almost thinking of going back to like a steel rod. But because I have the aluminum rods and everything, like my pistons it's got a bigger pin. It's got the 990 pin, like a big block Chevy or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think down the road though, it might be an idea to swap back if I ever need another set of pistons. Like just do that swap later. But
yeah, the aluminum rod thing is great, but they do become that wear item.
Yeah, and it gets expensive after a while too, just swapping rods out all the time.
Yeah.
How much is a set of rods?
I think the last set I paid $1,300 for.
Frick.
Yeah.
So expensive wear item.
Billet set of rods from us is close to the same price.
Yeah.
Retail, I think, is like 11 to 12 on them, depending on which rod it is.
Cool. And you guys do the billet aluminum rod, obviously. Do you also do a steel rod?
Billet steel rod,
billet
not
steel.
aluminum.
Got
they
it.
don't do
Okay.
aluminum.
Oh, got it. Billet steel. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of the steel rod. Honestly, the billet steel rod. You do those for the LS platform?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. Small block, big block LS.
Cool. We may need to chat about those then offline, Luke.
Yeah. I heard you're thinking of coming over to the dark side where it's fun to go to the track.
Yeah. yes. I'm eagerly looking to retire the nitrous stuff. I think at least for now for this setup. So
yeah.
Nitrous some other changes
badass.
will follow.
There's two things that you will always be with nitrous. Nitrous, you'll be the coolest mofo at the track if you have like 3-foot flames coming out of the dumps out of the car, but you'll also be the guy that's getting donkey gapped at like 400 foot by the turbo car.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the flame guy though.
Yeah. You'll still be cool, but you're losing.
Just slow. Yeah. That's
like the guy who freaking spins the tires all the way down the track. I
still
like
has
that
fun.
guy.
Yeah.
I drink beers with him all day.
Yeah, so currently it's just the big block, small block, and LS platform stuff for all the billet parts. Being the resident Ford guy at Howard's, I am pushing the small block Ford platform. So we are looking at doing probably 1 or 2 8.2 deck cranks, and then probably a 4-inch stroke for the 9.5 in billet, and then the 6.200 and 5.400 rod length stuff for the Ford guys.
Yeah, I never realized how much stuff you guys have until I started sending you lists. So you're like, oh yeah, we got that. Oh, we can get that. And then with competition products too.
Right. Yeah. Us being it's not the same company, but we share a space, and the owner of the two companies is the same guy. So technically, I'm employed in both companies. Being that now I'm selling stuff to Brian through competition products. I am not a competition product salesman, but for the people that we sponsor, I do want to be able to provide them the service of just start to finish.
Yeah, Luke, one of the things I really like about the Howards and how you guys have all this set up, it's like effectively a one-stop shop for a lot of the kind of core engine stuff that guys are going to be putting together. Like you said, whether it's the street rod, hot rod stuff, or even like we're talking about now, like real hardcore race motors. Yeah,
it is nice being able to do that start to finish stuff. So if somebody's like, I still got to pick pistons or XYZ, I'm like, okay, well, what compression ratio are you shooting for? They'll tell me what their bore is and roughly what their cylinder head chambers are, and I'll be like, oh, you got a piston for that on the shelf. I'm like, oh, no shit, didn't even know that. So, and funny enough, that's left us in a situation where a lot of our parts are on. For example, Brian says he needs a crank, and Brian gets a crank ordered the next day. So
that's that's game changing, especially now, right? With you hear a lot of guys talking about the struggles with getting stuff. We got 9 minutes, but we could start.
It's
heading
not
that
9
way.
minutes. It's 9 seconds, isn't it?
No, it's
No,
9
it's
minutes.
8 minutes and 50.
Yeah.
I thought that 8 was a 0. Well, then we got 8 minutes of filler here now.
No, it's okay.
No,
Anything
what
that
to
you want to
talk about?
say off camera?
No, it's okay.
But
I
maybe on camera.
I got questions still
you
about
could
the Howards.
phone him.
I was gonna
and
start
just-
pillow fight.
Shit.
Sorry.
Luke, is there anything? I'm curious if there's anything kind of new or direction you guys are headed that maybe you can talk about or that you're excited about. You alluded to the small block Ford stuff, so this is the type of thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, so small block Ford, we've done small block Ford in the past,
Mhm.
but like any manufacturer, the only stuff that we actually make 100% in-house, like start to finish,
Yep,
are the camshafts.
got it.
So like any other manufacturer out there, there's not refineries, but machine shops and stuff making all the other parts for us.
Mhm.
And we cycle through the people that make those just to keep costs down, keep the quality of parts where we want them.
Because we were talking about this. We were going to ask, do you guys get your cam cores forged and then you get them? Or does, every cam company kind of build or buy from different forging?
Yeah.
Is
So
there...
there are two main suppliers of cores in the country.
Okay.
Every camshaft manufacturer, for the most part, buys from them. Comp will make a lot of their stuff in-house for the weird stuff.
Yep.
But for a lot of the cast, flat tappet stuff or the ductile iron roller stuff, I'm sure that they're using the same people that we are. So the cans do come at a predetermined layout. So for these people that want weird grinds, it's not always in the cards because we can't go that far on the low just because of where the heat treat is at on the base unit.
All right.
For stuff that I did for Brian, luckily we actually used Callie's base cores on his stuff, and Callie's does a really good job at making a super solid heat treat on their stuff, so we can kind of do what we want with them. And then for the small block Chevy stuff that he has with the big block journal, we could have taken the core size down as far as the journal so to make that fit, and a lot of companies won't do that. They will use a small block Chevy core that has the big block journal on it already. So that was why he was running into issues trying to actually find a company that had the stuff to do that. But seeing that the block went all Gumby on him, doing the 50 anyways.
Yeah. It'll work out better that way, I think, so.
Yeah. More bearing material, more bearing surface is always better. Yeah.
Cool. That's interesting info. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one of those things I was curious about. So I always thought they were just all just round.
Just a hot dog.
Yeah. And then you guys put but that'd be a lot of material, I guess, that you'd have to cut off.
Right. Yeah.
Well, like you said, the heat treat and kind of getting the hardness and all the other properties that you'd want in the final product. So makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So we always check them after we make them just to make sure that the heat treat is there. And every once in a while, actually when we did the cam for my truck, we were worried that we were going to have to toss the cam because we were going to get too thin on the heat treat, just because I wanted a billet cam in my truck, and getting a billet small is difficult. And then on a 350 cubic inch turbo motor, you don't need a big camshaft. So it was difficult finding a core that worked.
Awesome. Well, Luke, this has been really cool.
This has been fun.
Learned a lot. Yeah, it was fun. And, bonding on the clutch stuff, which we'll do more of. I'll have to get you on Facebook so we can get in the chat and talk.
Well, we could just keep bringing you back to, and then you could
just do that.
We could grow together.
Exactly.
Yeah, Brandon makes quality YouTube videos. I make goofball YouTubes, and the podcast thing's different, but my normal ones. I suck at the vlogging, and Brandon's really good at that. So his channel's good too. So we'll have
don't discredit yourself.
We'll have to pump his numbers.
Yeah. Subscribe to Brandon. He's in the link down below. Bam.
Damn. All right.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for this.
Everybody else subscribe to Brandon.
Yeah.
And everybody subscribe to Luke's channel so they can see Howard's cams.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get links for Howard's in the description, for Luke's channel in the description.
He does crazy stuff too. The guys in garbage cans jumping off The roof.
Really?
The attic.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Johnny Knoxville cameo.
Yeah,
Nice.
I watched it. He showed me it earlier.
Yeah.
You might even crash a VW
Hell
or
yeah.
something live on YouTube.
Yeah,
Cool,
my
man.
wife told me I was an idiot for doing that, and everybody's loved it so far. So
Hey,
she can.
when
she
the old
can eat
lady's
that.
upset, you know you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Cool. All right, Luke. Well, thank
Sweet.
you for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Wrap
thanks,
it here.
guys.
Okay.
See ya.
bye, Luke.
See you, Luke.
All right. This is outside the recording envelope now.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Well, nothing's safe
Is
with
it,
Brian. But I just
though?
want to say,
Yeah,
Luke,
nothing safe with Brian. Watch
Is
out. Watch
it?
out.
we appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to do it again too in the future because it was fun.